My name is Erin White. I call myself the Master Strategist. You can find me on Instagram at Master Strategist. I help small, medium-sized businesses build out their business strategies as well as operationalize them. So I help them basically, I bring order to chaos. That is what I do.
What has been a recent adulting situation or scenario for you that you are currently overcoming?
I was diagnosed with ADHD about 7 years ago. So I had an adult diagnosis. And when I told my mom, she literally teared up because she was like, oh my goodness, that's what it was. So that means I've had it since I was a child. I didn't grow up in this age right now where it's normal to talk about these things. And so my mother, I just had to have a strong work ethic. I just had to work through it. And that is good and bad. I had a lot of shame when I was diagnosed because I thought something was wrong with me. And so I felt different. It took me a long time to release that shame as I did more research about it, as I talked to my therapist about it. Always use a therapist, no matter how smart you are, no matter how much you know. And if you have been thinking about therapists or you're afraid to get a therapist, because we cannot work out our own stuff in our head, because if we could, we would be different, right? And then the more I talked about it with other people, the less shame I had, because I realized I didn't want them to have shame around it. There was an article recently in Apple News, if y'all have Apple News, where ADHD is really a superpower. And then you have to work with the rest of the stuff, right? And make sure your friends and your family know, especially in a Black community. When you come from a very ethnic community, no matter what it is, they kind of shun that type of stuff. But yeah, living your truth and do what you need to do. There's a book that I want to recommend actually on it, Smart But Scattered. And it helps you understand the executive functioning skills and what you can do to mitigate it. Research as much as you can about ADHD. Get an actual diagnosis. One of my pet peeves is when people say, oh, I have ADHD. If you haven't gotten an actual diagnosis, it minimalizes what people with ADHD are actually going through. And so it's harder than you think. People like me make it look good. No, okay, I'm joking. Okay.
If you could think of a random dance move that expresses how adulting is making you feel today,
Okay.
what would that dance move be?
If I had to think about it, it would be to lean with it, rock with it.
Okay.
Hey, that's what you gotta do with life. You gotta lean with it, rock with it. Hey, lean with it,
Rock with it. Hey, lean with it. Hey, rock with it. Put some stank on it. Hey.